Hi everybody, it is Audrey. Welcome back. It's day 11. Is that right? 8, 9, 10, 11. Yep, of the Summer Scrappin Series. Today my guest is Ashley Horton, and Ashley, as many of you probably know, owns the Cut Shoppe, which is a great little Etsy store full of cut files. I was thinking about how long I've known Ashley, and I remember her way back from Sketchy Thursdays. If she watches this, I wonder if she remembers that. That was like 10 years ago, so I think I have known Ashley in the scrappy world for that long. So, anywho, I am using one of Ashley's cut files from the Cut Shoppe store. It's called Go Fly a Kite. It's really cute. I have some pictures of the kiddos flying kites. So I'm going to use this. So what I'm going to try to do is one of these kites has two openings. And I am actually going to try to put my photos in the opening. So I have opened the cut file here and I'm kind of playing with the size. So I took this one big kite and I actually opened a photograph, and this is the photo I'm going to use, and I'm opening it right in Silhouette Studio. And you can see the red line of the kite shape there. And here's my second photo. So I'm just putting these photos in here and I'm kind of twisting and turning them because I'm trying to see what size I should print them so that they fit into the kite. So when I had them in Silhouette Studio, they measured about like 2.6 by 3.7 inches. So now once I knew what size to print them, I went back into Photoshop and I specifically sized my photos to that exact size, 2.6 by 3.7. And so now when I print them, they will fit perfectly within the kite shape on this page. So I don't show you, obviously, me printing them, but I do actually end up changing that a little once I start my page, but that's one way that you can get. So like, if you have something you want to back with a photo like this and you don't know, well, how big should I print my photos? Just open your photos in Silhouette Studio and put it right in the shape and then measure it and say that's how, then you can figure out how big you need to print your photos. Okay, so I've cut those out. I used the Maggie Holmes Sunny Days collection. I really love this collection. And so I decided to do something different here. So now I'm kind of after printing them out, all that size and everything, I am gonna, instead of putting the photos in the blank spaces, the cut spaces, I'm gonna put them over the solid yellow spots. So I just took a piece of acetate and I cut a triangle that was the same shape as that yellow spot, just so I could see how I need to cut my photo so that I could get the correct shape, because I didn't want to miscut my photo. So you see I'm putting the acetate over my photo there, and I'm positioning it just right. Now you'll notice that, so I'm cutting triangle shapes, but I am cutting some of the white edges of the photo because the photo is not big enough. So that bothers me a teeny bit, but in the final product you don't even really notice it. So now I'm just going to trim those down a tiny bit more because I do want to put a border on these photos. So already I'm changing up my plan here, different from what I had originally intended, but I think that's cute. So you can see the kite there in each of those pictures, I think. If you look close, it's there. Okay, so I am going to take these little white clouds that I cut out of just white cardstock, and those are part of the cut file too. I cut 2 sets of them. One set I made a little bit bigger than the second, and I'm just going to kind of scatter them around the page. And I'm putting them on the background now, and then I'm going to do mixed media over the top of them because I just want you to see kind of a hint of the clouds. I don't want the clouds to be like a major feature because I want the kite cut files to stand out. So I'm just going to glue them down and go over them with some mixed media here. So once that's dry, I go through with some gesso, my ginormous Juggo gesso, and I'm gonna just go right over the clouds. The gesso goes on so white and thick, but then when it dries, it gets obviously much lighter. So it looks like I'm completely covering up those clouds right now, but you'll see in a few minutes that it dries a little bit lighter than that. So while that's drying, I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to do something with my kite here. So the reason I decided to leave those spaces open instead is because I am going to make more shaker pockets. I thought that this would be really cute to have some shaker elements in this open spot of the kite, and then I'll just have my photos in the other parts. So I'm going to back those open spaces with this pattern paper here. And I have that piece of acetate that I actually used to cut my photos, and I am going to make little pockets with the acetate and pattern paper. So the last time I made my shakers, I noticed that the pieces inside didn't really move that much, and I felt like it was because the acetate was too tight to the paper. So I wanted to add something to give a little bit more space between the acetate sheet and the pattern paper. So I'm putting in a thin border of white cardstock. So just to kind of give a little extra boost so that the acetate isn't completely flat on the piece of paper. I guess I could have done 2 or 3 layers to give even more depth to the inside of the pocket, but this will work fine, I think, and it actually does work pretty good. So now that I've got those white borders on, and you saw I just cut those by hand. I'm cutting a piece of acetate that's a little bit bigger than the shape, and I've stitched around 2 of the 3 edges. So I've stitched with kind of an aqua thread, and that initially that was just to help secure the acetate. I like stitching the acetate to the paper instead of using glue because sometimes the sequins get stuck in the glue. But I actually end up, well, you'll see, using these as is. So now I'm just filling the pockets with sequins and a whole range of colors. I got some Spiegelmom scrap sequins. I have this little tin of sequins that somebody gave me as a gift. And of course I'm going through picking out very particular colors. Just some bright colors, pinks, greens, blues, yellows. A couple of like coral, peachy colors. I don't know why I'm on this shaker pocket kick, but I have so many sequins, so I've got to find ways to use them up. I actually had a couple leftover hearts. One of the kites has hearts. Oh, there it is right there. That's the kite that has the hearts. And the little pink hearts that were left after I cut that, I put 3 of those hearts in each shaker pocket. So there you go. And they actually shake pretty good. So I love how those came out. They're really cute. And I love the colors. So I was initially going to put the shaker pockets behind the space like that. Okay. So, but I really liked how the white border looked with the stitching. I mean, I guess I could have stitched over the top of it, but I thought, you know what? I am going to put those on top of the kite instead of behind it so that I have those nice stitching lines and that white border. And to kind of continue along the white border, I'm going to add a white border to each of my pictures here. So I just glued them on some scrap white cardstock, and I am going to cut a thin white border around each of those photos. But the issue is all of the triangles are really big, and I really want that yellow to stand out a little bit more. So I'm just going to leave a little space. The triangles kind of hang off the edge, but it's totally fine. You still get the complete illusion of the kite, even though the triangles that I've created hang off the edges, and I have the yellow kind of lines down the middle. And plus the tail is still yellow, so I still have that yellow look to it. Okay, so that kite is done, and now I am going to back the other 2 little kites with pattern paper. I wanted to add a little burst of orange, so I am taking some orange pattern paper and this little kite and making all the hearts orange. And when I have small cut files like this, I really just put a scrap over the back, and then if there's any of the background paper hanging off the edges, I just trim it as needed. Okay, that one's done. I want the hearts to stand out, pop out a little bit more, so I'm going to outline them with a white pen. And sometimes I don't really have good luck with white pens. I guess it depends on the pattern paper, but this one actually came out okay. The white definitely helps define the edges of the hearts here. Okay, second kite, same thing. I'm just going to back them quick with pattern paper. this kite, the shapes aren't, so the paper I cut the kite from is the dark green, but it had some white specks in it. It wasn't like a tone on tone like the pink was or like the yellow was, the yellow pattern paper. So it's not as solid of a design. So when I backed it, and I backed it again with some busy paper, I felt like I lost some of the design because I didn't really use great contrasting colors. So the design of this one gets a little lost in the colors of the paper and the pattern of the paper, but it's fine. I do go back through, and I know I don't show this on video, but I actually outlined some of the inside shapes, some of the inside cut shapes with a black pen just to make those stand out a little bit more. Okay, so all my kites are done, and I'm not really going to add too many other things to this page. I have my title that says Go Fly a Kite. Well, I lost my A, of course, so I had to cut another one. I eventually cut another one, but right now it just says Go Fly a Kite. So yeah, that looks really cute. I love the swirls of those tails and things. I'm going to do very minimal embellishing. I thought a butterfly was appropriate. I need a label sticker for the date, a couple hearts maybe. And then I started doing this and realized, oh wait, I have to go back. I forgot I wanted to do some mixed media coloring on my background over my heart, or not over my hearts, over my clouds. So you can see now how those clouds stand out a lot more, that gesso actually dried a little bit lighter. So I'm going to go in with some blues and some greens here. This, I think, is my favorite color shimmers. It's called, well, the first color I used there is Snow Wayman, and I've almost used the whole thing. There are not very many mist containers where I can say that I've almost used the whole thing. So I really love that color. And then I'm going back through with a couple other, I don't remember all the names of these colors. I'm sure if you go back and slow down the video, you can see. I do remember this one because it's one of my favorites. This is called Celery, and I just love this color green. It's like a citron color. So I'm just going to put that in a few spots. And you can see I'm going right over the clouds as if they're part of the background. I kind of wanted them to have that look, but you can still see them peeking out. I did leave a little bit of white on most of the clouds. A couple more colors here. This is also a beautiful color. It's a mint. It was a special edition Shimmers. So I went through and I wanted to stitch on the tails, machine stitch on the tails of the kites. It worked fine on the yellow one, so I continued with that blue thread. The other two kites, the tails were way too thin for me to stitch. So I just stitched around the outside edge of both kites in different color threads. And then I had gone through my stash and found, I knew I had bows in my stash. So I found these little white bows. I think those are Maggie Holmes. They came in a hip kit, club kit months ago. And then these little bows are Bella Boulevard, and they're on paper clips. So I just kind of unfolded the paper clip and pulled it out, and then I'll put those on with glue dots. So which side do you like the butterfly on better, the left or the right? It's on the left now, but I actually ended up putting it back on the right, I think. I guess it probably doesn't matter in the scheme of things. These are also Maggie Holmes, the Crepe Paper Maggie Holmes Sunny Days collection. Little phrase stickers. They're clear, which I love, so you can still see the background through them. And what else? Oh yeah, these birds, the little gold birds. My only thing is that the birds are all going the same direction. I wish some were facing left, but they're all facing right. Oh well, I know. Major issues when your birds are not going different directions. Okay, so that's really all I'm going to do for embellishing. I'm just going to adhere everything down now. I'm going to use some craft foam bits, just little scraps to back the kites, and I'll pop them off. So I'm just popping off the main body of the kite, and then the tails I actually end up just gluing straight down to the paper. So we don't often fly kites, but when we go up to the Thousand Islands in the summertime, we have a lot of windy days. And my kids got kites for, I don't know if it was Easter, probably was Easter, and we hadn't used them yet. So they got out their kites. And we're actually standing on the dock near the water where it was very windy. And this was really their first time, I think, like legitimately flying a kite. They've tried before, like running through the field where the kite goes up like 10 feet in the air as long as you're running, but as soon as you stop running, the kite falls. But this is sustained kite flying here. See, there it is. The butterfly, left, right, left, right, right. It's going on the right. I put it on the right because, again, my visual triangle thing, I have the navy blue in the kite on the right, and then I have the navy blue title, of course, and then the butterfly up in the top. So I just added some journaling lines and some journaling a little bit and my date, and that does it. So there is the finished page. I love this cut file, super cute. I'm glad I had the photos to go with it. And I just love all these layers of cut files. My favorite thing though is the shaker pockets. Again, I might have a new kick right now, and that might be shaker pockets. I promise try to not bore you with another one this week anyway. So that's it for day 11. Be sure to go check out Ashley's page. I'm sure she probably used cut files too. I don't think I've seen a page of Ashley's lately where she hasn't used a cut file. I love her cut files. So go check them out at the Cut Shoppe. Thank you so much for watching. Stay scrappy, my friends, and I will see you tomorrow.